Are we live now?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hello everyone.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in, everyone. 8 viewers in the chat. That's pretty good. Thank you very much for tuning in today. We are here with Peggy. You probably know her from the LANDR YouTube channel, also known as the artist Hua Li, and her wonderful, magnificent pup, Edna.
Did you forget Edna's name for a second?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Awful. It's been a while.
Unbelievable.
It's because Maggie's usually here, and then Maggie's the same dog.
She's not. She's not the same dog.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna. Hello, Lucky. How's it going? This is not the same dog as Maggie, by the way. Just to let you guys know.
Has Maggie been on the live stream?
Soon. No. So this is the first. We're gonna change the subject.
Yeah. I just want
So
everyone in the comments to comment that Edna's the superior dog, and we'll get rolling here.
Okay. For now.
For now.
Okay. So I'm just gonna open this.
So what are we here to talk about?
Yeah, so let me introduce Peggy properly and Edna properly. So right away, I'm reading this, by the way. I'm super excited to have Peggy with us on this stream. You've been a huge part of this YouTube channel, and it just makes sense that you're here on this since we're starting this. And I'm sure you have fans out there that are watching so they can kind of engage with you. And this is going to be exciting. We're going to be actually breaking down how Peggy released her popular single Mastery and how she released it and the steps she had to take to get to where it got and how it got her signed. And so what people might not know is that you go by the artist Hua Li, and I linked the channel on the title there, and there's links in the description as well if you want to check her out on Spotify. Oh, we got some people in the chat. Simon, thank you.
Hey, what's up, Simon?
The one. Or Theoni. What do you think it is?
Theo.
Nice.
The one.
But you are an artist that champions the representation of Asian American feminisms and cross-cultural solidarity through music while maintaining a firm grasp on musicianship and tradition in your songwriting, which I just ripped off completely from your bio.
That's
but
what
it's
for.
Also true, yes.
Yeah.
She's performed all over the world with notable performances at the Montreal International Jazz Festival to Reykjavik. Good. That's all silent in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Reykjavik's, I should know, the Secret Solstice Festival. You have a master's in musicology from McGill, and you're the marketing and label manager at Outside Music and Next Door Records.
Woo.
And that's it. That's my intro.
How'd you do?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good reading.
Nice.
What's up, Charles?
Yeah, thanks, Charles, for tuning in. But yeah, so we're here because, when people release stuff into the wild, like I've done this, I went on this journey recently. Like the last time I released something was on a CD, and a lot's changed since then.
That's
true. So like I released stuff. I did like a Spotify for Artists application to a playlist, and nothing happened.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I didn't expect much to happen because like there are so many releases going out every day. There's too much music out there, and you could never listen to it all. So how do you go about standing out from the crowd and finding your audience? And like, how did you go about releasing Mastery in a way where it found people's ears?
Wow, that's a huge question to start with, Anthony.
Yeah, I think that's the premise of the whole stream.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just talk for the next hour.
Nice. My job here is done.
Great. Okay. As always, ever useful Anthony over here.
That's right. Just had to set it up and then
well, I'll just preface this by saying that Mastery came out in 2019, I think. So amazingly, things have already changed so much. And that doesn't mean that everything I'm going to say is not valid, but I think we'll maybe further into the stream, we can get more into the specifics of playlist pitching and the secrets of what Spotify's looking for these days. But yeah, I think I chose Mastery as the track to look at in this stream because it was really kind of a singular moment in my career. It's the track that got me signed. I started building out my team when I was getting ready to put out this track. So it was like sort of a professionalizing moment in my career. And I guess maybe should we start there?
Yeah, I think so. I think like if I'm thinking of myself as a viewer, and feel free to ask questions in the chat, everyone. If you're promoting your releases, if Peggy's talking about something that pertains to your experience, feel free to ask us, and we'll acknowledge your question. But yeah, like I guess I would be like a viewer that has just released a song, and I haven't really done much promotion, and it'd be good to know how to do those things.
Sure.
So yeah, let's start. When did you want to? How did you want to start there?
Well, I'll just say this. When I put out Mastery, I was a totally independent artist. I had released an EP by myself on a record label I was running at the time called Art Not Love Records, and it did all right. I got a minimal amount of press, but it felt like something was growing. And so I think the thing to keep in mind here is that even though we're going to be talking about digital marketing and releasing music in the digital age, I think the idea that fans are fans, they're real life people, and you need to build that through doing shows and making connections, that all remains true. And I think when this song Mastery kind of was created, I felt like it was a good moment, having already built a bit of a grassroots following here in Montreal, to try and push it to the next level. So I think for people who are just starting out, you don't necessarily want to be building a team and everything. You don't want to be throwing tons of money into your releases until you can really feel like there's some movement happening in your backyard. And I suppose maybe that's sort of where we should begin, is this idea of I was starting from a place of having some fans in Montreal, having a community of artists here to work with, and people that believed in me.
Right.
So the track itself, I made it with my longtime producer, Alex Thibault, and he had an amazing pianist that I deeply admire in Montreal named Calder Nash play on the track. And it was one of the rare songs that I've ever made with Alex that he just brought me a track and I laid vocals over it. And I'm sad to say that it's one of the most successful ones. I'm like, oh, I guess people don't want me to songwrite and produce like that. But
maybe that's like where you shine, is like you're adding the finishing touch to something.
Yeah, she's just a top liner.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's top lining. So top liners are the people that write the lyrics and the melody.
Right, but that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's cool to be a great top liner.
Good.
I just want it all.
Yeah, right.
The flows of magic.
We got all of these sound effects before the stream. So
Nice. We got some people in the chat. Synchro Arts, Bavin, and
Karin and Damien.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey.
How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's going to be a great discussion, because like there's a lot that goes into releasing nowadays, and like it's just so saturated, and it's not like, I feel like it's just a different environment. It was still the same thing back in the 80s, because you still had so many artists making music, but because there was no internet, they were never broadcasted. You had to get it to a label to be broadcasted. Now anyone can broadcast, and it's about kind of like amplifying your own signal through the noise of everyone else's broadcast, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Should we how often should we shout people out?
Yeah, I just whenever they have questions.
What's up, Sober Talk Network, Chew, DJ Conti?
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Superpower. We do look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, we got a great light in front of and a great camera, and we both look great. Do you recommend pitching your song to a playlist before you release it? So let's start, like, we'll take the questions and we'll relate it to Peggy's story, which is going to be like, okay, so this song, you had it produced, you top-lined over it.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. And then what happened?
Well, okay, I know we're trying to be organized here. I'll just say, yes, absolutely pitch your song to a playlist before you release it, and we will get into pitching in detail a little bit later in the stream.
Yes, stick around.
Don't leave. Yeah, so after the...
Sorry, go ahead. That was the awful timing for that. Go ahead.
All good. Yeah, so after that, I would say, I had this great tune, and I happened to have a group of creatives around me that really believed in what I was doing. So I showed the song to my friend Alex Seltzer, who is quite a successful film director now. He does mostly horror movies, which is funny. When we show you the video, you'll see that this is not at all horror. But Alex was able to put together for me an incredibly high budget looking video with almost no money. And it was really scrappy. Maybe at some point we'll watch the video and we can talk about some of the stuff in there. But we got all of those locations for free. We did everything, like everyone in it is a friend or a neighbor or whatever else. So, it just came together really organically, and I had this great video. So I was like, okay, this is an asset that I can really, really leverage to get somewhere. Around the same time in 2018, I was asked to open on the Fat Tony and Cadence Weapon tour. So for those of you who don't know, Fat Tony is an incredible rapper from Houston. And Cadence Weapon is one of Canada's greatest. I used to be his touring DJ, so it was this nice little 3-artist touring party, and I dropped the video when that tour was going on.
Okay.
And I dropped that video with a publicist. So that was the first person I kind of hired on my team, was a publicist to help get the word out there on this video that I thought was really, really worth it.
Right.
So that did me really well. I got great press on it. We got a lot of eyes on the video, and in conjunction with the tour, it worked really nicely to kind of push the tour dates as well. It was a good way to kind of like show people that I was out on the scene outside of my hometown at this point. Like we're really growing this beyond Montreal at this point in the story. As a result of that, when we did our last tour date, which was in Toronto, I invited a bunch of the Toronto labels out, and my current label father, Evan Newman, over at Next Door Records, came to that show, and he was impressed by the audience reception. He loved the tunes, and I ended up releasing a record with Next Door the next year, which included Mastery. So here's the rub.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where I did everything wrong. Because I released Mastery the video first, but not the track, because I was like, let me save this in case a label wants to work with me. We ended up using Mastery as the lead single on the record. And because I didn't know what I was doing back then, I didn't really inform the publicist. Like, I was like, yeah, there's this video out there. But because the U.S. publicist I had been working with for the video had already pitched it around, when the rest of the international team started pitching it, all of the publications were like, why would we cover this? This song's been out for months.
Oh, no.
So my publicists were kind of mad at me.
Okay.
But they also knew I was new. So, I'll never do that again, and let that be a lesson to you all. I don't think it's necessarily a negative, especially if you're an emerging artist. If you don't have a team yet, do whatever feels right to you. And I felt like the video asset was something that was really, really special. And I didn't necessarily have the knowledge or the tools to release a single properly, but I felt like I could manage at least this visual aspect by itself. But communicate to your team, be upfront, try and think of all the angles. And maybe it didn't need to be the lead single of the record. Who knows? But nonetheless, when it comes to playlisting, I do believe that because there was already a bit of foreknowledge and hype around that video, it made it more attractive for playlisting. And it got on the Montreal Chill playlist, which is usually how it goes. Spotify will usually test an artist on a local playlist. and then they'll do their data magic. So they'll see if the skip rate is high. They'll see if people are listening through the whole song, if they're saving it to their libraries. And if you meet the metrics on a local playlist, they'll bump you up to national, international, like the bigger playlist with more followers.
Right. So can we break down, like, when let's say like someone's releasing something, someone asked, like, should I apply to a playlist before releasing it? What happens there? Like, you make the application, the song is scheduled to come out, right? So what happens exactly? Like, I know you have to type a bit about yourself. Like, you could maybe type about things that you've done or things that you're doing, so that like, I have no idea how they review all of these things. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like,
yeah. When you are pitching to playlists, you have to remember that Spotify is looking for moods more than anything else. So in the first couple sentences, you want to write in the pitch box in Spotify for Artists some things that kind of describe the mood, the activity, the vibe of the song, as opposed to like, it has synths, it's a rap song. It's like, the genre doesn't even really matter as long as you can put it in that kind of mood box. So that's sort of the first thing that they'll look for, because they're scanning for so much music. I think if you're able to pitch in the language of Spotify, that works really well. One of the tricks for that is if you just go to playlists on Spotify that you think your music would fit well in, there's always a description of the playlist in there.
Right.
So just use some of the key terms within that playlist. Like, I love the Spotify playlist Pollen, so I might use some of the keywords in the description of Pollen to try and pitch my music. Second line, maybe give a little background on who you are as an artist and why the track is meaningful. And then if you have any big events coming up, like if you're about to go on tour, if you are if you're nominated for a prize, I don't know, anything that might give a little extra push. Like, a lot of artists get put on, if they're playing South by Southwest, for instance, they'll get put on the South by's festival playlist.
Okay.
And Spotify likes to see that because that's a playlist with a lot of followers, and then they can kind of build on that momentum.
Right. So it's all connected. Like, all of the things that like all of the places your music appears on, they see all of that somehow?
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you think they scan, like, the submissions? Like, is it connected to your stats that you already have out there? Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's not to say that they won't take a chance on an emerging artist, but it is
right. You
rare.
you have to put your work in first, kind of.
Yeah.
All right.
I think, if you're a brand new artist and you really, you have great socials, you have, a lot of stuff going on, like even just a good pre-save campaign, especially for if it's you're a brand new artist, it's your first song on the platform, that can work really well. There are, frankly, insane metrics that Spotify looks at. One of them is how much time do people spend on your artist page clicking around.
Okay, wow.
So if you're brand new and there's nothing there, you could do like maybe a follow campaign and just make sure you've got like a great banner, a really nice photo, your bio is engaging and complete, so that even before there's music up there, people are kind of like, oh, what is this? Like, I'm going to go follow this artist. Let me scroll around for a second.
Right. And what's a follow campaign?
A follow campaign is when you go on your socials and you're like, hey, follow me on Spotify.
Okay.
Because it's really helpful when I want to get playlisted.
And would that include maybe paid ads too, where you like follow, like?
You could do that.
Nice. So what I've been reading, because I did a little bit of research before this, just to kind of like get antiquated, and it doesn't seem that far off from like, okay, so we grew this YouTube channel, people are watching it, and then the videos got recommended to more people because they were good, right? And like, and we kept posting, so the frequency also push the algorithm to watch them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping that we do these live streams more often, and then more people will come to them. And we were already seeing some growth on these streams, which is great. So I guess it is also consistency, right?
It helps, yeah.
Just like so they can see you're active, and they're like, okay, they did this, and they're continuing. And that's how labels work, right? Like,
well, in a way, yes. At our label, we tend to have a very anti-capitalist work ethic.
okay,
But at the same time, we're interfacing with the streaming platforms all the time. We take quarterly meetings with all of them. And when I first started as label manager at Nextdoor, I was very shocked in a meeting with Spotify because I myself hadn't released music in about a year at that point. And one of the Spotify reps were talking about an artist that we had on the roster, and we were like, yeah, there's new stuff coming out. And they're like, yeah, we consider people who haven't released music in a year and a half legacy artists.
wow.
So in the digital world, in this kind of data-driven platform world, it is really good to be consistent because you're basically starting from scratch if you wait too long.
Right.
That being said, I think there's also room to be a regular person. Oh, Edna's growling over here. Do you want to get off the chair?
While you do that, let's take a look at some of the questions that people. Great infos. Thank you, KVD. And maybe showing the vid at the show got you signed. Ooh.
I didn't show it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did send it before the show.
Nice. Maybe that's what happened.
Maybe.
Okay. We're going to take a look at the video in a sec here. If you had a $100 budget and your best song uploaded to Spotify, which ad platform would you spend it on? Instagram? That's music all day longs.
Yeah, I would probably spend it. If there's no music video, I would spend it exclusively on Meta. So that's, the greater Instagram world.
Okay, so Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp.
I think it's called automatic advantage advertising. It's like their automated way of dealing with ads. I tend to use that for the label artists, and it works great. Okay. I get feedback all the time about how many ads people are getting from us, which is positive, good. I think.
So they're targeted, right? And what metrics would someone look for if they're spending $100 and they're want to measure the success as an artist?
Cost per click.
Okay.
Generally speaking, is what we look at in digital marketing, and the cost per click is quite low when it comes to Meta ads. Whereas if you get into the world of TikTok or Spotify ads, generally speaking, the cost per click is a lot higher.
Okay.
So it's like Meta is a place where people are used to clicking off the platform in some ways. So I think it's easier to kind of get that engagement going.
Right. Makes sense.
If you have a video, I would split that $100 in half across Google Ads to drive viewers to your video, and the other half on Meta.
Okay. Offhand, if you spent $100 and you had a decent ad, what would be considered a success for that $100? Like, how many clicks do you think? I guess that's clicks to your Spotify profile, right? Not necessarily follows, but they're going to your page.
Yeah. Music all day. Yeah. So when I say Google ad, I do mean a YouTube ad. It's the ad platform is called Google Ads, and from there you can create ads that play on YouTube. So those are usually skippable in-stream ads that play before other videos. In terms of success, it depends on how long you're running the campaign for. Let's say you do a $50 campaign for a week. I would say a few hundred clicks is pretty good.
Nice.
At $50.
Right.
I think that's reasonable.
Good to know. Yeah, because sometimes you just have to run ads.
They're helpful.
Yeah, just to kind of reach audiences maybe that you would never have reached before.
For sure.
Without money behind it. Cool. Excellent. That's like a success sound.
I forget what our other sounds are now.
Well, we'll explore them. Did I? Yeah. What a party.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Let's take a look at the video, and yeah, let me just pull that up here.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to say about this video before we play it?
Well, I would say just keep in mind that we spend almost no money on this, and we can break down how we managed to do that. But I think one of the things I'm most proud about on this video is just how scrappy and resourceful we were to make it happen.
Right. So yeah, like building your team and knowing people, making those connections is important to do these types of things.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me just pull this up here. Nice. Thanks.
Are we thumbnailed?
What's that?
Can people see us still?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Wow.
It's just if you have anything going on in the bottom right of the video, they're not going to see it. Because that's the camera.
Yeah, I get it.
We should be quiet now because they can still hear us.
Put those feelings in the song till I hear that tap drip called bitch. I'm not feeling any better. Looks like I'm about to wreck her. Peer into her mind, trying to find myself a sign. And she hasn't changed with time, so I see we in a bind, bruh. Make that decancerian pleasure authoritarian. Always find him tearing in when she gets too ovarian. Ooh, girl, then he puts on the table, Marianne. Okay, looks like she's getting on Terrian. Silly me, thought fucking was the key, but without repeat performances, what does it really mean? Does she still got it? Bringing the girls to their knees, standing the boys on their keys. Still hot at market, but they off target when he gets started. Well, she stays scarlet, so I'll beg your pardon. If you come to harvest, you gon' leave here starving. Do they really feel where I come from? Or is it flattery? I get so easily cut down by darker pedigree. Plantation after factor, what's in my arteries? This shit ain't easy, baby. Come at me with mastery. Come at me with mastery. Come at me, daddy, won't you show me what you do? Won't you show me what you do now with that mastery? Compartmentalize, start to penalize the way he
That's a
thinks.
cool
I
scene.
always view him through some oriental eyes. Giving gentle rise to habits that he generalized. I breathe fire, sure, but I never claim it's naturalized. Leaning through the ditty, pray
Like,
he gets used to
you
the
can have
pity.
beautiful
Cause I left her on the sideline
right.
thinking
And
I
then
wouldn't
they'll
get misty.
Nice.
Flip it back to days when fever had us hot in harmony. Kick it up, I dare say I'd have skipped that trip to pharmacy. Cause dopamine and functioning have taken on synonymy. It used to be a glance could bring the dose up astronomically. Now I'm cursing out the city cause my skin don't seem to fit me. Never mind, it's been months since we last really got jiggy. Hate to bring it back to technical. See him looking skeptical. Leaning on the chemicals like now's gotta be seminal. Pray pushing it to the side. Heals the wound pressure applied. I'm taking it all in stride, leaving the rest out on the curbside. Do they really feel where I come from? Or is it flattery? I get so easily cut down by darker pedigree. Plantation after factor, what's in my arteries? This shit ain't easy, baby. Come at me with mastery. Come at me, come at me, come at me, come at me with mastery. A little mastery, baby, like I know you do.
Nice.
So that's the video in question.
Sweet.
I saw someone ask where the extras are from in this video, and I think that is one of the there's some funny aspects to that. The person in the nail salon at the beginning who's doing my nails is my producer, Alex. So that was just a little cute cameo.
And he's wearing your shirt.
He is wearing my shirt.
Yeah, that's
yes,
cool.
You got to put your merch in your videos so people buy it.
Branding.
You know? The girls in the blue room scene, they're just all friends of mine. So the offer was, come chill with me for a day. We'll dress you in blue. We'll get some makeup on you. We'll
nice.
Drink some wine afterwards. And they were down to support because they're my friends.
Yeah, it's fun.
And the guy in the car at the end is the wildest one. So we had this idea for this car scene, and I sort of described the ideal young man that I would have. Like, I was like, I want him to be ethnically diverse. I want him to have muscles. I want him to be attractive. And it turned out that the producer, he was just next door neighbors to my producer. And she saw, not my producer Alex, but the producer of the video. And she saw him take off his shirt in his backyard one day. And she was like, hey, do you want to be in a music video? So that's how we got him.
That's great. It all lined up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mid-journey created him with my mind 5 years ago.
Yeah. That seems way more difficult to do. Other than like seeing someone in a backyard, you went back in time to use Mid-Journey. That's not
that hadn't existed yet.
As good as real life yet.
Yeah.
Close though. I mean, it's not moving. I tried. I showed Peggy.
Law of attraction, baby.
I tried to clone myself. It's not there yet. It's kind of creepy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was the extra hand movements.
Yeah.
It was very funny. Will you ever post it for the public consumption?
No.
If I made you an impression, it's like, hi, I'm Anthony. And today we're going to talk about music production.
Yeah. So I could have toned down the hand movements when I trained it, but let's dig in here. So different, unique sound. Nice. Yeah. It sounds better than perfect.
Thank you. Wow.
Nice.
So kind.
Clap. Really nice. All nice songs or nice things. Yeah.
Should we sing it?
Should
we sing the comments? When he fails to live up to expectations, holler.
The viewership is just going to drop now. It's just going to die.
Do you think the sound effects are bad?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that we should have never done them, but I felt like this one here.
That's the only one you like.
I'll have to delete all of them.
Damn.
So, new record labels. What's the best way to go at a playlist? Deep house. Gunshots. Yeah, we had gunshots last time.
Oh, hey, Tana, what's up? I know him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no gunshots today. I'm sorry. That's very cretin of you to ask for that. Anthony's Italian, so are you guys like mortal enemies, Greeks and Italians?
I don't think so. I love Greece. So
yeah,
it's
cool.
Yeah,
I like Greece too. I've never been to Italy.
Actually, you know what? My dad's visiting. He just brought his Italian birth certificate
to Greece.
No, here. Because
it's like so confusing.
No, it's so Italians are bros. We're fam. Yeah. I mean, I love. Hopefully, the stream seems to be dying.
Oh no!
Is it? Maybe it's my internet in here on the laptop sucks. So we'll just keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hope.
Yeah, because we have the stream playing here just to make sure it's working. But yeah, like my dad brought his Italian birth certificate, so I can apply for Italian citizenship.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked.
So you may one day be Italian.
I will be Italian officially. I hope we're still live.
Yeah, me too. Did it stop live? Thanos subscribed.
Nice, thanks Thanos.
Yeah, it looks fine, right?
Yeah. Let me just check the dashboard here.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, people are commenting. Feels live. You're live. You can speak with an Italian.
So it's just my computer that's being not great at being live.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
great.
good.
Well, let's not worry about it. This
Yeah.
I find this one very distracting anyway because it's
Okay, yeah,
it's
we can see the
behind us.
chat there.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, let's just close this one. So, back to the conversation about actually promoting your music. I may live in Greece one day with my Italian European citizenship. But yeah. What was I going to say? So the biggest takeaway I think from that video is like you had a friend that's a producer. How did you give her anything? Like that seems like it was a lot of effort to make that video.
It was a huge amount of effort, and I think that's something to keep in mind. Where basically the less money you spend, the more effort it takes.
Right, like anything.
So, yeah, I had a friend who was a director, and he was kind of the first person that was like, I have a vision for what this video would look like. He storyboarded it out. And then his best friend, so Alex Seltzer is the director, his best friend, Nata Temerinsky, who's now a great music manager, she just came on board, you know, and it was a huge amount of effort from everyone. But I think it was this really nice moment of mutual support where it was kind of like, yeah, like if this works, like it's going to help all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't take for granted how privileged of a position I was in at that point in terms of having a really, really strong community around me.
Right.
But I think the thing is don't forget that you can accomplish a lot for not very much, especially in this day and age. Like a lot of the artists on our label shoot videos on iPhones and they look incredible, you know? So think outside of the box. Don't be afraid to ask for favors. Like we didn't pay for any of those locations except for the last one on the street. We had to get a permit from the city for that. But the nail salon was just where I get my nails done, and they let us come in on a day when the salon was closed. The outdoor scene was my backyard at the time. The scene with the black building and the orange window, it was like a friend of a friend's condo building that we just like asked them if we could shoot there, and they were like, yeah, whatever.
Nice.
And the car
was nice.
The car is the wildest part, actually, because we were really like, how are we going to get this vintage car? And the director saw that car in his neighborhood and just put a note on the windshield being like, hey, can you call me? Because I'm a director and I want to use this in a music video. And, you know, let me know if we need to like give you money or what. And the guy was just so excited to have his car featured in media. He just came and hung out. It was like this middle-aged Quebecois man that was just like very thrilled, and we gave him some beers and he was just super stoked to be there. So,
and then he probably saw the video at the end and was like, wow, that's my car, you know?
Yeah, like, that's my car she's not making out in.
Yeah. With the guy from the backyard.
Yeah,
that's a really cool story. Like, I guess that it really goes to show it's like you won't get what you don't ask for, right? Like,
yeah,
just don't be afraid to ask, you know, don't be afraid to get rejected, and just, you know, it's like that Michael Scott quote, you miss 100% of the
shots you don't take. Yeah. But
Wayne
I mean,
Gretzky.
that is real, you know, like had we not, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if we leave a note on a windshield?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're not going to call Alex and cuss him out.
Yeah.
They're just going to ignore him.
You touched my wiper.
Yeah. I mean,
Those are
I guess
premium.
so. Yeah. Maybe if it was Larry David's car.
Yeah.
Oh, what are people saying over here?
Yeah, let's go check on them over here. I got a really great question. A new artist with 20 songs that you could push up. Sounds like you should push up the best first and then stagger the publishing them. That's a good question. Maybe like a release strategy for new artists with like, you know, a good amount of songs. What do you think?
Yeah. At the label, we generally try to save the best, most playlistable song for the second or third track in a rollout.
Okay. And what's a rollout?
We usually do 4-song rollouts for an album. So that'll be 3 singles. The first one launching 4 months before the actual album comes out. And the 4th single coming out the same day as the album. And we call that the release week focus track. So that means when your record comes out, that's the song that is pushed to the streaming platforms for playlisting
Okay.
because they can't playlist the whole album.
No, I realized that you can't apply to playlists every time you release something.
You have to. There's a
Is there
certain
like a time?
there's a certain time frame, right? So
Okay.
that's why we release singles at minimum a month apart from each other, because I believe the pitch window is 3 weeks.
Right.
And if you have two things overlapping in the same pitch window, you can only pitch one thing at a time.
Okay, so like, if we're talking about a rollout that's the most effective, you would do a single per month. Is that?
Yeah. Now I say we do four single campaigns for albums, but you can have your release rollout just be like, if you want to do 20 singles, you can do 20 singles.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you from doing that, especially if you're independent. When you start to build your team out, there becomes constraints around that. For instance, if you're working with a publicist, you pay a flat fee or whatever. Every publicist is different, but it's either going to be a monthly fee, or if it is like kind of a 4-song album campaign, they might give you a flat rate for the whole album plus any tour dates after, things like that. But if you're just doing 20 singles over a year and a half, that's going to be really expensive to consistently be paying a publicist for that.
Right.
So, those are some of the things to think about. But if you're completely independent, there's nothing stopping you from consistently releasing singles just to kind of build momentum and hype before you start assembling your team.
Okay.
When it comes to the order, I think if let's say you're releasing 4 singles, you want to make the most ear catchy kind of playlistable single that you have, either the second or third of the 4.
Okay.
The first one tends to always underperform. And the fourth one, because it's the whole record, sometimes underperforms, sometimes it does really well. That's usually an unpredictable one. But slots 2 and 3 tend to do a little bit better. There's some buzz. Maybe you're getting some publicity. You're starting to get into that momentum. And I'm finding with our label campaigns, those tend to be the ones that get the most playlist hits. If you're doing a really long campaign, I would just kind of go through sort of waves of like, okay, maybe the first couple are not the very best ones, like build some momentum, then drop a super playlistable one, and then chill, and then drop another one, so just I wouldn't inundate people with the best stuff all the time.
Right. That makes sense. So like a follow-up to that then is like, let's say this person has 20 songs, they're mastered with LANDR, obviously, and they're ready to go, but now they have to work on the promotion side of things.
We're all blurry now.
Are we?
Oh.
It's because I'm moving, right? I have to
Yeah,
stop
okay.
gesturing. I think that's the moral of the day, I think.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, go on.
Is there anything else there? Actually, let's just take a look. Thanks for sharing your story. If you were to release an EP songs, would you submit all your tracks to playlists, and how many songs off the EP would you suggest promote? Okay. So we kind of just answered that a little bit, but I wanted to get more into that, like how to promote each one. Is your label open to sign new talent? Do you sound onto it?
Yeah, we're always looking for new submissions. You can submit at nextdoorrecords@gmail.com. And we do at least quarterly, if not more, if we have time, label listening get-togethers where we kind of go through all of our submissions. If you're based in Canada and you're playing in Toronto or Montreal, let us know.
Cool.
I'm here in Montreal at where LANDR is. I live in the LANDR office.
Yeah, just over there.
Yeah. I don't know where Edna is. She's gone.
Oh, no.
She's just wandering around the office now. Yeah, let me know if ever you're playing a show. I'd like to see people live before I make any choices.
Right. And what type of music do you gravitate? Does the label gravitate to any specific genres? Because
not necessarily.
Okay.
We don't deal a lot with the electronic music space aside from me, and I'm not our easiest artist to work with, I'll say. We do a lot of we do a range of kind of like the indie world. So
Right.
we have some shoegaze bands, we have some straight ahead singer-songwriters, we've got kind of indie pop, indie folk stuff. We have a couple rappers, so we sort of run the gamut in that space.
Nice.
And I want to kind of start to get weirder with stuff. Like I want more kind of post-punk on the label. I want darker, edgier stuff. So
Cool.
I want to be growing in the let's say generalized alternative space.
Nice. Yeah, actually, I'll let my buddy know because I'm mixing his album, and it's more kind of like a pop-punk-ish.
We also prioritize marginalized artists.
Okay, cool.
So that's something to keep in mind.
Nice. I don't think an independent bedroom artist is going to do live shows. Maybe the video streams, but travel? That's a good question. Like, let's say you're just starting out, you're producing in your bedroom. Maybe the type of music that you're producing isn't necessarily a type that you would perform live with. What do you think?
It's kind of a double-edged sword, I think, in the
Right.
sense that if you are really at that level where you're not trying to play live at all, it might be a little early for you to be trying to get signed to a label.
Right.
That is still an important metric, as hard as the live ecosystem is these days. It's still one of the best ways to kind of connect with fans.
Yeah.
I was touring well before I got signed, and that was the mid 2010s. So
Right.
again, a different time than now, but you don't have to think overwhelmingly about it. I'm really always telling people that it's important to focus on your own backyard. So if you can start by just doing some shows,
Yeah.
like literally in your backyard, even like just have some people over, start practicing playing live. Maybe like go to venues where artists that you admire play and get to know like who works there, who's the venue manager. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll introduce you to the booker,
Yeah.
start to kind of figure out like who are the players in your scene in your hometown, and then ask them if you can have an opening slot eventually. Once you get some experience, ask them if you can have an opening slot for an artist coming through on tour, and then maybe like whatever the next town over is, you can start doing that same thing. Like honestly, Montreal's a great city for artists because there are so many of us here, and things like that video can arise where it's kind of like there's just so many creatives around
Right.
that we
yeah.
can be scrappy. But because it's a city divided by language, it's not always the easiest to make inroads into the industry here. So as soon as I started kind of getting a following at home in Montreal, I started doing all of that same stuff in Toronto.
Cool.
So yeah, I think it's about like, there's never any rush. Things happen in their own time. Now that I'm a little bit older, I realize like I stressed so much about like, I gotta get like hit XYZ streams. I gotta have this many fans. I gotta sell out rooms of this size. And I was putting so much pressure on myself when I was younger, and I'm still living a life that I completely enjoy now, and I didn't need to stress so much about it. So yeah, just build things one step at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, like go to like my partner and I, Stephanie, when we were playing as a duo, we went to like Ottawa and we just handed out business cards with just our website. And like we got so many callbacks.
That's so olden days.
I know, but you just got to get out there and be like, here, we want to play music at your place.
Yeah, totally.
And then you don't know who you're going to meet. And we got some cool gigs and like awesome corporate gigs just from doing that. And like, yeah, it's crazy. You just have to really put yourself out there and give it a shot.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is the more you're out there, the more opportunity you get, like I'm also a DJ, and it's funny, like, I'll go do like the cool exclusive club gigs that all the DJs in the city want, and obviously that's great, but funny things happen at those gigs where it's like I'll get an email 6 months later and it'll be like, I saw you at Dacha. I really loved your set.
Yeah.
I own WeWork. Would you like to come? Like things just happen. And those corpo gigs are great. They make a lot of money at those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I had a list of questions. Edna's right here.
Oh, Edna's in the room, everyone.
I threw the paper, but I had some questions.
Tano says, a closed mouth don't get fed. So true.
Yeah, you got to...
Ludacris knows all about rollouts. I guess everyone can see the chat. I don't need to read everything.
No, you don't have to. Yeah. Questions are great, though. Keep asking questions. I'll ask some questions.
Afrobeat. I love Afrobeat personally. It could work. I would say it would have to be like we like artists on the edge of genres. We like people that are kind of like twisting the vibe a little bit.
Right.
But if you are looking for a good label that works with Afrobeat artists, I would really recommend you check out Moonshine, because they're kind of the top of the barrel in Montreal for that kind of stuff.
Nice. So let's see. If someone's releasing their music for the first time, what's the biggest mistake they should avoid making?
Moving too fast. I think there's always this desire as an artist, as soon as you finish something, you want people to hear it. And if you do want people to hear it, that's a great sign. That's sort of the first step. That's the most special thing. If you make something and you feel compelled to show it to people. But give it some time to set things up properly. Like, don't just drop it out on the internet. Don't just like log into DistroKid or LANDR distro and just put it out there without a plan. Like, get some cool looking single artwork together. If you can put together some sort of video or even just some short form content around it, build that out. Take the time to let people know that music is coming, so that you can honor that thing that you created that you do want people to hear. I think it can be really self-sabotaging to say like, well, I don't want to play this industry game and I just want to get it out there. But then it's like, then you're also going to be disappointed that no one's really, it's not moving the needle.
Right, because no one has a connection to it because they haven't seen the story behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's like just a big part of music. Just, you can randomly stumble on stuff, but the most, like the music that affects you the most, I feel like you kind of know about it, or the stuff that you did stumble on, you looking into the artist to see their process, or and that makes you kind of get into it a bit more. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the artists that I love these days are ones that give a lot of they just give a lot of their process to the audience. Yeah. I love seeing artists on TikTok kind of breaking down what's behind the music or how they create it. I'm a music nerd, so, I like to know that stuff, but I also just love hearing the narrative behind things, I love watching music documentaries. I want to know kind of what in someone's life brought them to the place of creating music. It's a wild thing that we do. I don't know what motivates any of us, but it seems unique for every person, and I think that's really special.
Right. Deep.
The flows of magic course through my veins.
The flows. I will glad if you hear one of my song and tell me what you think. That's a good point. We're going to do that soon. I think we'll have like an open session. Just listen to music and give you any feedback and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll definitely do that, and we'll let you know when we do it. Just make sure you subscribe, hit that bell to be notified, and yeah. Bells. So World Mental Health Day is coming up on the 10th. What do you think is the most important thing independent artists should do for their mental health?
Quit. No, just kidding. Oh. Just kidding. Don't quit.
What helped you the most?
Anthony, these are some hard-hitting questions. I didn't know we were going to talk about health. Honestly, as controversial as it is to say, we're out of focus again. Okay, great. We're good. As controversial as it is to say, I think COVID was one of the best things that ever happened for my mental health. I was touring a lot before COVID and balancing a lot of things. And when I had to stop and just relax, I realized I really like being at home. I like resting. I bought a TV and I put it in my bedroom so I can lie in bed and watch TV like I'm in a hotel room on tour, but I don't have to leave my house. You know, like I just realized it's nice to have stillness sometimes. And I remember as the pandemic continued on, I started to realize that that was something that I really appreciated, and I wanted to cultivate that feeling when things reopened. And it's something that I've realized ever since. If I don't make the conscious effort to schedule time to relax and chill and be at home, I won't get it. I will absolutely overbook myself. I will work myself to the point of burnout very naturally. Okay. So I need to be conscious about creating those times of rest and prioritize that, because that's what keeps me alive and going and creative.
Nice. Yeah, like just taking the time to turn your brain off, and then it has more power afterwards. Recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
But not just sleeping, like just kind of like zoning out, maybe taking in something entertaining.
Yeah. I also, I started the job at the label during the pandemic. I was touring way too hard before that to ever have a day job. And after balancing being an artist on the label and being the label manager has been a real trip. And I do find that I absolutely need to schedule times to be, we keep going out of focus.
It must be like it's really hot in this room. It's a hot day today. So it's just the steam.
No way.
Maybe.
It's not steaming in here.
Maybe it's to the camera.
You think the camera's steaming?
No, like the camera is picking up steam.
What's steaming though?
Just like, just us. Maybe, I think it's actually this light here.
Comment in the chat if it looks like we're steaming.
Yeah. Is
what was
steam?
I just saying? Oh yeah, I need to be conscious about scheduling time to create.
That's important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, scheduling time to create and making it a consistent thing. I think I mentioned this on a different stream, but like the book that helped me the most was the Art of War. No, the War of Art. There's two books. One's about war and one's about art, and they both are opposite. It's the War of Art,
right?
And it talks about scheduling time to create, even if you don't want to, you do it, and it's the habit of getting into it. And even though some sessions aren't great, some magic will eventually happen in subsequent sessions where you sit down and you're creating.
Yeah, and even the not great ones. I'm doing a songwriting workshop with School of Song right now that Kimbra is teaching. Shout outs to School of Song and Kimbra. And she said something really profound in the last session where she was like, whenever you feel like something is bad, lean into it more and just explore it, because you might come out the other side and it's great. And there's been plenty of terrible sessions that I've had, even in like kind of high stakes environments. Like I've been at a song camp or something and I'm like trying to be good, and I just have bad ideas the whole day. But then in another context, those bad ideas might work really well. Like nothing's garbage.
Yeah, it's just, exactly. That's reminds me of, I think Stephen King wrote Carrie, I think, and then threw it in the trash, and his wife grabbed it and was like, "Oh, this is really good." He's like, and then it became like a huge hit, right? So, yeah, your perception on ideas really can sabotage you. So yeah, like maybe getting something out, close the whatever you're working on, open it up the next day. You're gonna have a different perspective on whatever you did. Yeah.
Oh, the next day listen is huge.
Yeah.
Because it's often the opposite, like if you go to sleep and you're like, that was a banger. The next morning you wake up and you're like, oh no. And often it's the other way around where you're like, wow, I didn't realize this was really banging.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. Let's, what are people saying? Relax, don't do it. Great advice. Do you think producers can get known in the industry?
How do you think music?
It just doesn't happen.
That's not true. That's not true.
No, I'm just joking though.
Yeah.
How do you think music producers can get known in the industry?
There's two sides to the producer coin, right? There's the very forward-facing kind of like celebrity producers, and there's the very in-studio background people.
Right.
So I think either way, you can get known in the industry. I think you need to just decide if you're someone that wants to be putting out music under your own name, or if you want to be more of a support person.
Yeah.
If you want to be more of a support person, it's really about your personal network first. Eventually, maybe you'll get a manager. You can write to labels. I get pitches from producers all the time at the label, and I honestly really appreciate it because I never know when I'm going to have a signee that is going to need someone with exactly that sound, you know? So I keep a little list of people that have reached out. And I think if you're a producer, the best thing you can do is just collaborate with a wide net of people all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's about like you work with somebody, they have a great record that comes out, and then people look at the credits to be like, whoa, who produced this? And then they'll find you. So, for producers, I think collaboration is key.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like working with others, create things, put it out there with someone. And then I think it's getting the ball rolling. Right. So yeah, that's a good answer. Besides pitching directly to Spotify playlists, do you have any other sites to pitch for playlists?
I don't love Submit Hub. I know that's one that people talk about a lot, and I haven't had great success with it. I've tried it for a few of our artists, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just bad at using Submit Hub as a label manager, but I don't find it to be. I don't find it worth the money, but you don't necessarily have to go for editorial playlists right away. And by editorial playlists, I mean the playlists that the streaming platforms make themselves. So it's like the Spotify editors create playlists like Pollen and Lorem and, the main ones like New Music Friday. You can find, especially on Spotify, what's known as influencer playlists. So those are just people that make playlists themselves, but they have a huge following, and you can usually figure out a way to reach out to them, either from their Spotify profile, or maybe try searching that same username in Instagram or something. Those kind of user-generated playlists are also a great way to start getting your numbers up, so that Spotify is incentivized to put you on the editorial playlist. So I don't like any catch-all sites, and I know that's frustrating. There isn't really a shortcut here, but if you're building relationships with journalists or kind of tastemakers in that way, and that's something you can definitely do online, then yeah, like try to reach out to people directly.
Yeah, a lot of playlists have their contact info, I think, on there, and yeah, even like an artist that I've been really getting into, Disclosure, had a Discord, and then they had like their own playlist where they have someone that filters submissions, and you can submit to it, and it has a lot of listeners that listen to the same type of music. So like you can find playlists that might be built well for whatever you're creating.
For sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of artists, like that's a good point, not just kind of tastemakers or journalists in the industry, but a lot of artists have their own playlists, and a lot of them have a big following. So if you feel aligned with someone's sound, you could just try to DM them or email them and let them know about your music. Other artists are always down to champion other artists. Like, we all know what the struggle is. Patrick Holland has an excellent playlist of just stuff he likes. And, it's like one that I follow just because I like to know what he's up to. He's a friend of mine, but it's like easier to just like check out his playlist than like call him up and be like, hey, what are you listening to this week?
Right.
Cadence Weapon, same thing. Great playlist that he updates all the time of kind of stuff he likes to DJ. And it's just kind of nice to like check up on what people are hearing these days.
Nice. Are there any copyright steps that need to be covered before a release?
It depends on if you are using other people's music or not.
Right.
So if you are directly sampling, if you are doing covers are a little bit different, but it's good to just let people know.
Mhm.
So yeah, case by case basis, I would say. Let's say easiest scenario, it's all original music that you created. You want to register that with whatever your performing rights organization is called. So we call those pros. For short in the music industry. In Canada, it's SOCAN. In the States, it's ASCAP or BMI.
Yeah, there's two of the
Yeah.
the two.
So sign up with one of those. Make sure that your catalog is updated all the time. And if you want to get real fancy with it, also cover your neighboring rights. So you want to sign up for Sound Exchange as well. They will collect neighboring rights for you. That's for international and satellite radio.
Cool. Yeah, and cover licensing you can get through LANDR.
Yeah.
Yeah, cover licensing. So if you're releasing a cover, I did some covers and they I didn't try it through LANDR. It was my publisher working through someone else. But they wouldn't license the cover because I omitted the bridge. And it has to be the whole song. And I was kind of bummed because the bridge of the original song wasn't that great. That's why I took it out.
Well,
but the rest of the song's so good.
yeah. There's some interesting loopholes with cover licensing.
Interesting.
Technically, you don't always have to license it, but it really depends on it's better to check.
Right.
A lot of the times that the label will reach out and then whoever owns the publishing is kind of just like, yeah, like when you register the song, make sure we're listed for the publishing side. And then it's, the master is still your master.
Yeah. I think that might be the end.
Really?
So, you know what? I'm sold on those effects now.
Yeah, they're great.
The process. Let's answer Simone before we take off. The process you described with SOCAN. How long does it usually take to process? Meaning, how much time to plan before actually releasing?
So it takes a little bit of time to set up your member profile at SOCAN.
Yeah.
Okay, so give that, if you've never signed up with SOCAN before, give it a little extra time, maybe a couple months, just to be sure. Once you have your membership with SOCAN already set up, it's instantaneous. Like as soon as you upload the song, or not upload the song, but upload input the data around the song into SOCAN, it's there. It's part of your catalog. So in that regard, you don't need a lot of lead time, but I like to have at least from completion, like master in hand of the song. I like to have at least a couple months to get all of my ducks in a row before release day. Just make sure I have great artwork. Make sure that I have the lyrics on hand. Make sure I have a nice description of the song. Like, I don't like to be working on the fly. I don't want to be sitting there trying to write my pitch as soon as the pitch window opens. I like to have all of that stuff ready. So, give yourself time. There's nothing wrong with planning.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm seeing some more stuff here. I want to answer everyone before we go.
Yeah.
I've had an issue with LANDR not accepting any of my single project titles with Roman numerals. I've seen other artists. That's a good question. I would email support@landr.com. I know the standards to how text is displayed on streaming services is always changing, and different streaming services are always updating the rules. And because we release to several different streaming services, we try to streamline releases. We're trying to cater to everyone's rules, and it gets kind of mishmashy. So just email, and they'll let you know what they can do, and maybe the timeline on when those rules will change. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you're looking for to check out LANDR, there's a coupon in the description for LANDR Studio. There's like unlimited releases, keep all your royalties. And there's tons of promotional tools that we have on the platform, like the Spotify for Artists profile. and cover licensing. And there's, we're always updating the platform, so you can always see all of your important stats when you release. But thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Peggy, for coming in. I appreciate. Yeah. Oh my God. Thanks. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you soon.
Yeah, come again.
Yeah,
Tell them to have me back again.
I will.
Great.
Thanks.
Okay, bye, friends.
All right. See you later.